Fair. But exercise is just boring. Like cycling can be okay, I guess, but like running and stuff is boring. Especially if you're doing exercise at home as well. I don't know. It's just a me. Anyways, right, episode 4. Honestly, that was such a disappointment. The season 4 was really flipping good. 3 episodes in. Honestly, like, I think they killed it the first 3 episodes. Like, with Lily coming back as your season 4 antagonist completely out of the blue. That was absolutely brilliant. The dynamic at the boarding school was really, really good. There's some really interesting characters, really conflicted characters. Marlon's wrinkle was really, really interesting. And the fallout from AJ killing him when he was already dropped his guard after coming clean. Super interesting dynamic, super interesting wrinkle that they played on in episode 2, and the exile that they had to go through then, and then the that was really good. They worked that really, really well. And then the introduction of James. James might be the most interesting character of this entire series of this game. That was his outlook and his take, being able to move amongst the walkers, direct the walkers, just make us look at walkers in a completely different way, in a more human way, and to make us question that there might be more to walkers than what they're actually, that we've known all series long, which is just to kill them as you can, as soon as you can, before, to escape them. You're taught rightly that the walkers are to be feared, to protect yourself from them. Of course, the dynamics of this was that it was the people alive that you had to be careful of as well, as the world fell apart. But it was just an interesting, fresh angle to walkers, to look at them, and maybe look at them in a different way. And that chime scene where where Clementine moved with the walkers with James's mask, in amongst them, in the middle of them, ring the bell, and to see them kind of just gravitate to that lovely sound. I wanted more exposition on that angle, but we never got, because they decided to either make you kill James they make you decide between Lily or James, in essence. Not really, but because you don't let AJ kill Lily, then James ends up being killed, and that's it. That angle is gone. So that screws it. That kind of sets apart episode 4 immediately. That angle is just dead, literally. Like, I guess we won't be finding any more about the walkers from that point of view. So now it's just, we go back to just running for our lives with them again, and that whole thing that they tried to show with the walker angle with James is just completely gone. It's completely pointless, because he's now gone, and now we will never know any more about it, or the group that he was with that, moved with them in the first place. And that was disappointing. The biggest issue, I don't have a problem with Clem being bitten. That you put, the situation is created by Ten's indecision and last gasp desperation for family that he's been missing all this time, is a moment of weakness. It's a character flaw. He had to accept that his sister was dead. His sister's alive again, and her pleas for him to join him. It's understandable that in his moment of weakness, a character weakness led to that event. It obviously got Clem axed in the foot, or the leg rather. It got Violet killed, which we had no exposition on that. Like, no downtime to reflect on Violet's death, no Clem grieving, or any, like, the only thing we saw afterwards was just her grave afterwards. That was it. Like, not a word from Clementine on Violet. I know she had her own stuff to deal with, obviously her injury, because it happened quite quickly, between her injury and then her getting the bite. But we could have reflected on before the bite, just for a moment. But no. So Violet died, and that was it. That was Clem's girlfriend. I don't know, like, they give you the option, I assume, to romance Lewis or Violet, and then you make really nothing of it. They spent all that time building the bond between... I'm going to turn this up, actually. They spent all the time building the bond between Violet and Clem, between the hand holding, the occasional kiss, the "don't you die on me," her exposition, her past, and then it's gone. Like once she's dead, that's it. All of that. Like there's no reflection on it. There's no downtime. There's no grieving. That's it. It's done. So that was really disappointing. But the biggest problem by far, once Clementine got bit, the axe is right beside them. They throw the axe over the ledge, and they have the axe later in the shed. So I thought, well, Clementine's not going to be able to axe her own foot off. Not at that angle. And I thought, like, there's 6 years old, right? That axe is flipping huge. AJ's 6 years old. There's no way he's strong enough to wield it over his head, nor to generate the power or strength to chop off her foot. Not at least in time. So the problem is then, because you can't chop off her foot immediately where the bite is, your plot point then is, we know in the past that from Lee in season 1 that just because we chopped off his arm, it was too late. The infection or whatever it is had already spread. And that's it. And we know from others like Reggie in season 2 that if you do it quick enough, if you chop it off quick enough, you can survive. And we tried to do this in season 2 with what was Kenny's girlfriend in season 2? I can't remember her name, but we tried to do that, but obviously she got swarmed by walkers and got bit anyway. So season 4, we literally met Abel, who was an example of a character that had to have his arm chopped off, and did it quick enough. Well, actually, even that was bullshit, because he should have actually died then. But the case is the same. So at that point, Clementine's done. Like, there's nothing that can be done to save her, because it will take too long it take too long to remove the leg, and the time that passed between her getting bit and them making it to the shed can't be that much longer or the same, or it can't be that much shorter than the time it took Lee the events of episode 6. We know he got bit at the end of episode 5. Episode 4. And he chopped off that arm within the first half an hour of the bite happening or so. Like, Lee's arm was gone very quickly after the beginning of episode 5. He was armless he was without that arm for the entire episode, but it was too late. And you literally had Clementine already go pale in the barn. She's done. It's done. The infection is it's taking hold in her. She's done. You can't just AJ can't raise the axe over his head to chop off. I just don't think a 6-year-old has the strength to do that. And if he can, it's a very messy situation. But that does not explain. Clementine was going pale. I'm sorry, it was just the infection can take hold, and then you chop off the leg, and it's just gone. No, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. It spreads. So the fact that Clementine being alive is completely it's without reason. It is literally copping out of killing your main character. Which, hello, you did this in season 1 with Lee. So you did it once. Once you put Clementine in that scenario where she's in the barn, she's going more and more pale, her eyes are going. She's been bitten and hasn't amputated that whatever piece of her body that is immediately. The only outcome to that situation is death. That's the only way it's going to happen. But no, they decide to retcon their own rules and decide that once you amputate it at all, you're fine. The infection just magically disappears. So she shouldn't even be alive at the end. So I'm not even happy to see her. Same way I wasn't really happy to see Kenny, because there's no way she should have survived that. She should not have survived that situation. It was done. You put her in a situation where you make it realistic by, her leg being injured with the axe blow from Minnie creates a situation where she's bit That makes sense. That's what would happen. She wouldn't be able to escape in time. Her climb up she was too slow to climb up. She was too slow to get to that area to climb up because of her leg injury. That makes sense. But then you just completely throw that out the window. You completely kill any emotional investment with the supposed Clementine death, because you make it seem as though you kill, like AJ kills her again. However, he lifts the axe above his head, whatever. It's a big axe as well. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that he's able to lift that axe like that. You completely remove the player from all emotional, your emotional attachment to the scene of, at the time you think is Clementine's death, by then showing exposition of how you got AJ back in the first place. Like, what does that accomplish? Like, you just take yourself out of the moment and ruin that scene. Like, I was feeling quite sad after, supposedly AJ somehow lifts this axe and kills her. Very emotional. He didn't want to kill her, and it's what Clem means to him. But no, you throw us into exposition that should have easily been in episode 1. There's no excuse for this to be in it, like with the ranch. And then you say you can't go back to Richmond because it's at war, and that's it. Like, that's the only mention of the Richmond you get in the entire season. We can't go back to Richmond now because somewhere else is at war. That makes no sense. But it would. If you're putting that flawed information in, it doesn't belong in the series finale. Let alone the series finale. It just doesn't belong there. That's a question. Like, I was asking, before the season started, I was thinking, well, what situation happened where they can't go back to the New Frontier? What situation happened where we can't go back to this known safe place? Like, Richmond is saved. Javi and Kate were able to make a new life for themselves at the end of season 3. That was the inferred ending. That they cleared the walkers, it was safe. Okay, well, season 4, AJ and Clem are trying, they find a school. And they're very far away from home, or the New Frontier, or Richmond. So what events happened to create that in the first place? You answer that either in episode 1 or episode 2. See, to answer it in this immediately, to half answer, let's be honest, to half answer it after Clementine's supposed death is completely pointless. Do you know what would have made that scene a lot more emotional? How about you add a scene where Clementine dies by AJ's hand, which is what he has to do, and you have some scene where it's Lee and Clementine, they reflect on the sacrifices they had to make, or what they, you could have had Clem lean into the side of Lee, because the parallels, like, right until they retcon her death, they're exact parallels. They're like, AJ and Clem are both young children who saw their mentor bit and had to make this tough decision to end their lives before they could become walkers. They're complete parallels of each other. You could have leaned into the angle of Clementine seeing Lee, and, like, they share a moment where they reflect on the heaviness of that choice. There's so much potential you could do with that, to have Clementine and Lee meet on the other side. But no, we're just shoved out of that immediately into a scene where Clementine recaptures AJ, or gets AJ back. And it would make more sense. It would make some sense if Clementine actually died. If you want to give AJ that exposition, then it still sucks, but it just makes no sense to show that. And then you retcon Clementine's death. Were they that afraid to kill off a character? There's no coming out of that situation. She lost. It was done. The jig was up. Like, it was, she was bit. She was pale. The infection was taking hold in her body. It was only a matter of time before she turned. You can't just. It's a complete cop out what they did with that. And then the ending. Then they tease you with the "Take Us Back" song. As AJ begins his new life. And then, the problem from episode 1 was that the problem Marlon faced at episode 1 was, guys, we're running out of food. There's not much more. We're trying to hunt for food. We can't find food. But now in episode 4, there's just so much now that we can have seconds. So I don't know. That didn't make much sense. And their supposed safety at the end is completely, like, all it takes is like, Lily knows where the school is. She could just come back, guys. Are you sure she's not feeling vengeful for blowing up her fucking boat and killing the people underneath her? Because I might be. I might be pretty pissed about that. I might come back with reinforcements. We have a boat. She escaped on another boat. Smaller, mind you, but, we could bring back a few people. I don't know. Anyways. And then Clementine not taking the cap. Like, you had a near-death experience where you thought you got bit, and now you don't want the cap that you've had since you were 8 years old. With Lee's blood still on it. The man who sacrificed his life to save you, to help you, to teach you. And you're like, nah. But it's not really, but it's not her fault, because they just wanted the people who made this just wanted an ending, just an ending image of the hat, the one thing that's been consistent throughout this game. If you're going to show Lee in episode 3, you're not going to show him in episode 4, or a reminder or a flashback or something of his words. Maybe in the barn, perhaps. I don't know. It's such a shame. That was such a good season up until episode 4. It's kind of a bitter way to end, because in general, The Walking Dead was so good. Like, this game was so good. Here, let's move on to Hershel's farm. This was nice and relaxing. It really was. Like, it was such an amazing experience. And it's just, to end it like that, in an unrealistic way, a game that teaches you the aftermath of consequences and actions, and, if someone's bit, then that's it, essentially. You're taught that the ramifications of a bite are death if you don't amputate immediately. Also, wasn't huge on they added a lot of, they seem to change the rules a lot for the walkers in season 4. All of a sudden they have red eyes, like, essentially, apart from James for some reason. But they made obsessed to have them have as many red eyes as possible. They make it so they can actually just walk on water like they walk on land. No, that's not how that's worked. That's never been how that's worked. You've never shown this once. This is hardly relevant now. You can't just operate just because you're a walker. You just mean that doesn't mean you defy gravity by walking. You can't just walk on the water floor as a person. That doesn't work. That's not how that works. That was stupid. That was really stupid to add in episode 3 when they were storming the boat. Just have the walkers just chilling on the lake floor or the river floor, whatever it is. It's a river. That was, or beach, whatever. That was stupid. So I didn't like that. Minnie, I don't know how, like, you talk about surviving impossible odds. There's no way Minnie survives that on the beach. She's swarmed, she's bit. She looked less pale after that ordeal than Clementine when she got to the barn. And it can't have been that much difference in time. It can't have been that much different. Clementine didn't even have the strength to stand. She couldn't even stand. She could barely raise a gun. How on earth can Minnie just walk all that way with a horde of walkers? Look, to be fair, I assume her singing was what helped her move with them. So I'll give them a pass for that because they showed it with the chime. So that's fine. Have a pass for that. But there's no way she can stand like that. There's no way she can wield an axe like that. There's no way she can stand and shoot a gun like that. Her face is mangled. She's been bit. Clementine was bit on the foot. She could hardly move. No, she still had one leg that she could use properly. She could hardly move. Her strength failed her in the barn. It was done. But no, Minnie can just, she can walk all that way, drag an axe. It's fine. Half her face missing. It's fine. There's a lot of Game of Thrones season 8 vibes here where you set so much great stuff up beforehand and then in one episode you just throw it all away. Like, I thought Game of Thrones season 8 was going fine until, episode 5. I mean, yes, there are some problems in between with how episode 3 ended of season 8, The Long Night. And bits like that. Just like I thought there are problems with, how the walkers could just suddenly walk on water and these kind of things. But you just throw it. They just threw all of what you built of season 4 away with episode 4. Surely, you can use episode 5, guys. You could add episode 5. There's not a problem with that. Yeah. So why... I know they made the episodes longer, but I just don't understand that, really. So yeah, I'm not even happy to see Clem. Same way I wasn't really happy to see Kenny when I remembered Kenny, or when I got spoiled that Kenny was alive. Because he shouldn't have survived for that ordeal, and neither should Clem. So I can't say I'm happy because it's unrealistic. My immersion is broken because for everything that you've taught me for 3 and 3/4 seasons, essentially, is that the outcome that the situation that Clementine ended up in, she should have died. And you're like, nah, we can't kill her. You bring in you develop AJ, you have a character there that can pick up the torch, so to speak. You've been trying very hard to invest and build in that. You literally have at the end of the season the lessons he's learned from Clementine. Great. We can use that if she's dead, all of what she learned, just like what she learned from Lee, we can use this. But no, you decide, nah, we won't. Like, Clementine, you're alive. Cool. I don't know. That was really silly. Just completely between the ranch scene and that, just my immersion's completely broken. So a really shitty way to end, but season 4, I still do I prefer season 4 to season 2? Because if I'm ranking them, it goes season. Can I even rank season 3 at the top now that we didn't get any information about Javi or the new, Richmond or the New Frontier, where I guess when I say the New Frontier, I mean Richmond. Really, that's what I mean. I mean the New Richmond. I guess I should say New Richmond. We don't know what happened there. That was a safe place. We don't know why whatever happened at the ranch happened. We don't know the aftermath. Clem just decided she couldn't go back to Richmond. And that was it. That makes no sense. Hardly any time had passed from that event and the end of season 3. I'll still put season 3 at the top just to, for the way it ended. Or at least the way I ended it, at least. You could have a real shitty ending for season 3. But I honestly felt so satisfied with the end of season 3. I'll give it a tie. Just because of season 4, I'll give it a tie between season 3 and season 1. Both really, really good. Both kind of ruined by immediate retcons. And when I say for season 1 retcons, I mean like Owen and Krista are gone within the first half an hour of season 2. The choices that you made in the first place, it felt like it didn't matter. Same for season 3 with season 4. Season 2, I don't know. I think I'll take season 2 over season 4 just by the way it ended. I didn't really like the Kenny angle in season 2 just because he shouldn't have been alive. But there's a lot to like about season 2 as well. And there's a lot to like about season 4 as well. But I'll say 2 and then 4 because at least episode 5 of season 2 had some good stuff in it. And some endings were very good in season 2, like episode 4, when Rebecca turned right at the end. Season 1 had some good stuff, like the way episode 1 ended was really good. But yeah, episode 4 I feel like just shit on so much. And the potential they did have to work on things like with James and the Walkers, they just disappeared, man. So, it's tough, but yeah, those are my. I think that's most of my thoughts on episode 4 here. Yeah, I'm really disappointed. I was really hopeful because they've done there's not many I would call bad episodes here. Oh, that might be the worst one. Ooh, that's tough. I think the last episode here is the worst one in the entire series. That's tough. But I think it's true. The only other one that comes close maybe is like season 2, episode 1. But I think that's really it. I really liked season 4, episode 1. And season 3 was a little slow to get going, but I wouldn't call those episodes bad. And I don't think season 1 had any bad episodes either. Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough. I'll put back on the Clementine Suite to end here. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough realization. I didn't expect that to be the case. Oh well, that's tough. But look, that's it. That's The Walking Dead.